And that was the thing that really ticked me off.
Mm-hmm.
It really ticked me off
Mm-hmm.
because it was like, if you are a good woman and you really cared about her, then you would have picked up the phone and called the media companies and let them know. You wouldn't have let this go off for however long until she has a sit down. This would have never come up had she never had this sit down. It would have continued to
They
play off.
let everything happen.
Welcome back to the
Welcome back.
Podcast.
Yes, I'm your girl, Renee Nicole.
And I'm Lillian Shepler. And we are the host of the
The
Buckeye.
Buck Down Podcast. Thank you for coming back. Man, oh man. Lillian, what was your Buck God experience this week?
My butt God experience this week may not seem like a total butt God experience, but to me, it's a butt God experience. And that is my son's father tested positive for COVID on Tuesday. And I was so anxious that I really wanted to jump in my car and drive up and go grab my son.
Yeah.
Didn't want him to be exposed and get it. But God, thank you, Curtis tested negative. So my son tested negative, his father tested
Okay.
positive. They are quarantining in separate parts of the house. And another but God part of that is his father has mild symptoms. So he doesn't have a fever, he doesn't have a really bad cough, he doesn't have any of those other things. He has lost his taste, has lost his sense of smell, little bit of body aches, a little bit of headaches, but he's taken Tylenol. And my son is there to help prepare and wear his mask and gloves as he prepares meals and keeps his father hydrated. So,
Oh, praise God. Well, that is a Buck God experience.
yeah,
That's good. I'm glad to hear he's doing well and he's going to get over this thing.
yeah. So that's a relief. Now, what is your butt God experience for the week?
But God. Okay. So our last episode, we were in sunny Florida,
Oh,
having a very zen, relaxing time. I came home to craziness. Okay. No, I had been allowing my younger cousin to stay with us and, had been forewarned of some of her behavior, but gave her the benefit of the doubt. However, she showed that doubt to be true. And so I had to kick her out and had to use a few choice words to get her out of here. And
so you
yeah,
got Kirk Franklin-ish on her.
I had to go Kirk Franklin on her. Okay. Those of you that have not seen or heard the audio of Kirk Franklin going off on his son and using some less than holy words to go off on his son, you know what we talking about. But I ain't mad at him. I could relate. Okay. I could identify with Kirk in that moment because people will take you there, especially family and loved ones will
Oh,
take you there.
especially family and loved ones, and especially those that you've like come from your local.
Invested in,
Oh,
and put all of that and done for you. And I feel like that's what Kirk's pain was. Like, I'm your father, respect me. And I think for me, the but God in it all is that she gone, and I'm praying for her best and that everything works out for her good. But, I tried and I gave it my all and didn't turn out well, but God, he's
I think
still
we're
in the
gonna
midst.
have to have a little segment on the whole benefit of the doubt situation, or not situation, but theory and thinking of,
Yeah.
because I feel like every time I give someone the benefit of the doubt, I get burns in return.
Yeah.
And it's like
That rhymes too.
that
That's
rhymes
good.
pretty well, right? Benefit of the doubt gets you burned in return.
In return. And it comes from self-love because a lot of the time we say, oh, I can get through this, they're in a worse state than me, so I can get over them burning me. No, okay, I love myself enough to respect myself and
And
say
you get
no.
burned. Right. And
Okay,
I
I'm
get
not
burned
putting
because
myself.
it's like, when you're in previous, or I've had some previous relationships where, when you get in a new relationship, you don't want to take in the baggage from the bad relationship. But
Right.
sometimes there are signs that start to show up and you're like, well, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
No. And
Burn central.
speaking of the benefit of the doubt, I feel like Meghan Markle gave
Good.
her husband and his family the benefit of the doubt and trusted them, she trusted love, I feel like, and thought that love would lead them. And we learned in the interview
Yeah.
with
The
Oprah
with
Winfrey,
the Oprah Winfrey.
and her husband Harry, um, the truth about everything that goes on in that empire, and I feel like it was I'm glad, because I don't know a whole lot about what goes on in that lifestyle. I'm glad to kind of learn and kind of put some things together
Yeah.
and realize that, man, first of all, racism is very real in the entire world. It's not just an America thing, it's in the entire world. And it's a good thing, as frustrating as it is that we're still dealing with this in 2021. It's a good thing because it's being exposed
Yeah.
in a new way.
I think what's interesting is that I think we started off talking about the benefit of the doubt. And I think, if anything, more so, Harry was the one that gave the benefit of the doubt to his family.
Mm,
And he's the one that kind of really got burned. Meghan is used to, being as a woman of color, she's used
yeah,
to it. But
yeah,
the real trial and the real test came for Harry. It's like I think he's probably more crushed at the fact
yeah,
that this happened to him and
yeah,
his family. I'm sure he's seen and heard things happen in his time of being in the kingdom and what he's seen and whatnot. But I feel like I really, my heart really did go out to him a lot, because he his whole life was the kingdom. His whole life is the monarch.
yeah,
Meghan, she's American. She's used to, again, having these experiences. But I think, like you said, the racism thing, I think for the world at large, because in Europe, it's not really shown to be such a racist country. Whereas in America, we're pretty known to be a pretty racist country,
yeah,
how we were founded and all of that, right? But in Europe, they always seem to be ahead of us and being a little bit better with regards to their racism. I mean, that's just my opinion from what I've seen. I
yeah.
don't,
And I feel like it's a lot, we're in the outside looking in, so
yeah,
we don't know everything. Because I didn't know anything about the Commonwealth. I didn't know, like what countries and continents were a part of that. But just I did some research and kind of found out, and watched a little bit of The Crown to kind of get caught up on what was
oh,
going
there, that's
on.
my show, The Crown. I love that show.
Yeah. And I was really, it is kind of shocking. It's not shocking. That's the wrong word to use, because I don't put it past anyone, especially when you come from money, you know, they just gonna look down on other people. And I know racism is real everywhere. But just for it to come out in the way that it did, and like you said, I do kind of feel for Harry, because this is a lifestyle that he's never lived. Everything has been written for him. And I want to say that is their but God experience, is that they're being able to write their own story now, which has never been seen in that lifestyle or in that arena. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, and whether Harry's going to be game for this new LA life, especially. Very LA is just very just easy going. So
Mhm.
I'm really curious to see how he fits into this new lifestyle.
Yeah, I'm curious to see too. I mean, I think it's definitely interesting. I think
Mhm.
out of the boys, he's the right one to have been chosen.
The rebel, kind of like his mother.
You
Yeah.
know, you know, he was kind of in a way groomed in some ways to be on the outside. Now I know we talked about, or that it's been talked like he gave up his title. Um, he was never going to be the king anyway.
Right.
Too far down the line to ever be on that
Yeah.
throne. So that I don't think was such a big detriment to him. I think for me, what was the most, and I think some people made fun of how Oprah's reaction was when it was about the color of the baby and how she was just like, I
Hmm.
mean,
Because
I,
someone in Harry's family told him they were concerned about how dark their child would be.
I mean, quite honestly, I can see that being a question. I come from my son is mixed, and so um my parents never asked, like, if he's going to be, but it was something me and his father, like, oh, I wonder if he's going to come out like more like me, or if he's going to come out a little darker, like his brother. I mean, that's what happens when you are of a mixed couple. Now, the way that it was said was, I guess, shocking. And I think someone I watched on news or whatever said that they think that it was, that it was that it was William who actually
Mhm.
is the one
Yeah.
who said that. I was thinking Charles.
That's
But
what I would think.
I
Yeah.
would think Charles because of the older mentality, but
Yeah.
William's not too far from that. So, and that was the thing that really mm, ticked me off.
Mhm.
It really ticked me off
Mhm.
because it was like, if you are a good woman and you really cared about her, then you would have picked up the phone and called the media companies and let them know. You wouldn't have let this go off for however long until she has a sit down. This would have never come up had she never had this sit down. It would have continued to
They
play off.
let everything happen, and that's the reason why they decided to leave. They allowed her to be villainized. They allowed, you know, their child, Harry and Meghan's child, to go unprotected, to be exposed and unprotected. Any type of political office or anyone that's in any type of position of authority and control where you're in the limelight gets security, gets, like,
Yeah, like why wouldn't he get
you
security? And
know,
Fergie's kids, after she and Andrew, I think, was split, right? They have security. I mean, goodness
yeah,
gracious, why is it? So
you're
please
a target.
clarify. He is still part of the royal family. The royal blood, whether they want to believe it or not, runs in that child's veins.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I just thought that was just horrible. And you've heard, I think, statements have come out that the Queen is shocked to hear that Meghan was treated this way. You're shocked? You're shocked? Really?
You
Ring
know,
ringleader? Really?
you've been here for how old is she?
Lady's like, I'm gonna be 100.
Right.
Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
So,
You-
I felt that was I felt really bad for that. And just seeing how now this poor, I mean, he's not poor child. I mean, he will have the best of the both worlds, if not even
Yeah.
better, because Archie will grow up in a completely different environment
Yeah.
from his cousins.
And I think it is good, like you said, that it was Harry because first of all, he has been the one that kind of to do things out unorthodox,
Right.
and he is a man. And I feel like men very much when they start families of their own become a little detached from their families. I think it's a little harder for us women to detach from our parents and like our grandparents or whomever. So I think that it may be a little bit easy. It's going to be hard. You're always, especially his brother, you're always going to be close. Says he has the most respect for his grandmother and they have a great relationship still. But I feel like it'll be a little easier for him than maybe it would have been for Meghan to start this new life.
If she was across the seas, you're saying, if it would have
Yeah.
her to
Yeah. I
be
mean, I feel like Megan was never gonna like, okay, I give up my mother and everything that I know. Like she was willing to, but I think, I feel like Harry what he'll adjust is what I'm saying. Because first, like I was saying how I was concerned about him, and I still think it's gonna be like it's a culture shock, like we said, he's been very groomed all of his life. And LA is the complete opposite of everything he knows. But being that and the fact that you don't have that closeness to your family anymore, and that's the one thing that I'm hoping that he's able to mend those relationships with his family, but it goes deep.
Yeah, it
Those
does.
waves go very deep.
When it's your children, it, you know,
They come first.
it's painful. It's
Yeah.
and I think what's probably even going to be more um hurting to him is like, when you were growing up, I know as a mother for myself, I always remember back of how I grew up and what I was exposed to, the good
Yeah.
things, good memories, right? And
Yeah.
like celebrating. And then now my son, like I have a lot of cousins, like you have a lot of cousins, and my son, he doesn't have a lot of cousins. Even though my cousins are his cousins, he doesn't look at it that way. And
Right.
so, it's those kinds of things that I'm sure Harry is going to be, a little sad
Yeah.
about. But I think in the end of the interview, they talked about how, like, look, she's pregnant with another baby. I think they said it was going to be a girl. And,
Yeah.
it's just the start of a whole new life for them. They're building their own family.
Yeah.
I think Yeah, they, like you said, they have a shot at that new happily ever
Yeah.
after.
They've already started their own company where they're
Yeah.
doing a podcast, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, they bought a beautiful home. They
Mm-hmm.
were staying in Tyler Perry's home for a while, which is really
Really nice
cool.
was that. I think I like Tyler Perry. Like I just read about just on a different story, like Tyler Perry helped out even Carl Lentz, the pastor, the former pastor from Hillsong Church.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
He paid his rent.
Tyler,
15 grand a month he paid for him when he went out to start his life over in California or whatever. But that's
Tyler just be writing checks, okay?
Tyler, I would like to be your friend, please.
Can we rub elbows? Can we
Rub
be cool?
elbows, please. I won't
But
have
yeah,
to pay my $16,000 rent, but
look, just give me 1,800. I'll be good. I'll be
um,
good. No.
but
But
no,
no, it was a great interview. I learned a lot. Go ahead.
I learned a lot too. I think it's a great interview, but I think a lot of people, why so many people also, I think were also like, why now?
Mm,
Why are you coming out with this now? What is happening? I think was very shocking to me, and I haven't gone back to watch it, and I did want to go back to watch it, was the talk about the suicide, the thoughts of suicide that she had contemplated,
yeah.
thoughts of suicide. I think I didn't go back to, and her losing herself in that way. I didn't go back to watch the video, but I was wondering if it was after if she had already had Archie at the time, and if it was, then I would say, why didn't anybody look into um,
Postpartum.
postpartum depression?
Yeah. I believe it was, and I believe
Because
I
that's a
believe
very
it,
real deal. I mean,
yeah.
postpartum depression, I had it for my son after he was born, and you do,
Because
it's,
they got pregnant pretty early.
yeah, so I think it was after her having the
Yeah.
baby, and I don't think anybody ever realized, to really discuss it. Postpartum depression isn't something that's really discussed as much. It's starting
Yeah.
to become a hot topic,
Right.
but there is a window. It doesn't just happen right after you have the baby, and then there's like a 7-day window. No, it can go to the child's like 3 or 4, maybe 5 years of age. It can still
Yeah.
be there. You got to think about it. 9 months, your body goes through this time of feeding a whole new being. And within however long it takes you to deliver that baby, 7 hours, 17, 27, my case, it was 5, you know,
Yeah.
hormones have been gone in other directions for 9 months.
I know how my hormones go without being pregnant. Like, so I can only imagine with
Right?
that extra stress, and people want to glorify the lifestyle of, living in this kingdom, but it's kind of like jail, I would assume. She's like, I couldn't just take an Uber, I couldn't just call a therapist. They're like, no, this news is gonna get out. So like
What is that?
she went to the senior advisor to say,
And
I'm not well, I need help. And they said, I'm sorry, it's not going to look good, you
how
know?
was that? They would have rather her. I mean, so then if you go into The Crown, and if you've watched The Crown further on into the
Mhm.
thing, you see the torment that Diana had to go through because she was a commoner. This wasn't her normal,
Yeah.
in her kind of lifestyle. And
Mhm.
so it was, and like Harry said, he said it so lovingly. And I pray I get my own Harry one day.
I
Um,
know.
he said, like, I had to save my wife's life. Her
And
life.
that was the thing too, because Meghan said that, like, the only person she felt comfortable reaching out to was one of Princess Diana's friends because she had witnessed it with her,
Right.
and Harry was afraid or embarrassed even to go to his family and say that his wife was contemplating suicide, because he knew they are very conditioned to be concerned about how
Image.
they appear, their image.
Why she
And
doesn't smile, the queen. She doesn't smile because of that.
yeah,
If she smiles, then it shows like sometimes she's in favor of something when she shouldn't be because maybe these people don't want her to be. I mean,
I couldn't imagine that life.
I'm
So I
just
feel
so
like Harry even said he feels like he broke free and he kind of feels sorry for the rest of his family.
I do. I mean, I am so glad that it's a part of the taking off the mask,
Yeah,
and starting to really say, you know what, enough is enough.
yeah,
Enough is enough. You know what? The thing that takeaway for me is that it doesn't matter if you're from the British royal family or from the Lower East Side in New York. Depression hits anyone and everyone. Racism is in any and every socioeconomic and every country,
Yeah.
and no one is exempt. You know,
Yeah.
we just have to be better at being loving, kind human beings and accepting people. And it's really disheartening to me that she went for help and you're telling her no.
Yeah.
You might as well have given her the gun or whatever and was like, here, kill yourself.
And I feel like, they wouldn't have cared, like that's,
Terrible.
and it's a shame. But I think the lesson too is to speak out, be vocal.
Hmm.
And if you don't like your circumstances, change them,
Don't
you
be
know.
afraid. Yeah, don't be afraid, you know.
And if the people who you are, connected to aren't willing to change, aren't willing to help you,
Find new people.
find new people. And that could be your husband. Look,
Yeah,
yeah, but like it was fortunate that her husband supported her, and that I think that made the created the foundation of a safe environment for her. Like, okay, she's not healthy. How can I rectify this? So I love that. And change your circumstances, change your change your environment and get into a healthy place, because no one wants to be in that space where they don't want to live, where they don't feel like they can be their full selves.
I loved how he was just like, it wasn't just her problem, her issue. Like
It's our
she didn't get to
problem.
do it. It's our problem. You know,
Yeah.
that whole
When you're married, you're one.
one, yeah, being that one body, that one being, and him just being like, you know what, I'll get over it. And I just thought it was a great story. I would love
Mhm.
to hear them talk more and see more from them. I mean, I think
Yeah.
go off and do
Yeah, I'm excited to see what their new lives look like. I'm sure they're going to be on something else next, and they have the podcast coming. So I will be tuning in. Thank you, Miss Oprah, the Oprah,
I'm
for
also
being the
curious
interview.
though about why they chose LA versus New York. I feel like LA is so saturated with paparazzi
Mm. I
compared
think it's because she's from LA, so it's like she knows that life. And who wants to be cold in New York?
and listen. I know.
She's like, we going back home, okay?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that, they seem to be in a better place. She seems to be doing better.
Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
hopefully welcoming the new baby. I hope that this changes something in that family, that they really
Yeah.
start to stop becoming defensive is what they're trying to do, and protect this monarch image and realize this is your loved one. This is our loved one and we
This is our
shouldn't,
family. Yeah.
like this is different. Like you did this to Diana and now you're doing it to your own children. And I really pray that Charles would step up and
Yeah.
be a better dad.
Agreed.
Protect your child. Goodness, like, and I think that's what it is. Harry now realizes, like, I now know, like, I feel like I will protect Archie to
Right.
life.
I won't allow him to go through this, what
No.
I'm going through. Yeah.
And I think that's great for him. I hope that their relationship with his brother improves. But his
Yeah.
brother just seems like such a staunchy, cold person.
He does. He does. I hope that, like you said, this sheds a light for all of them and just shifts in them. Because at the end of the day, that's your brother, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's your brother. You guys only had each other after your mom died.
all you had. Yeah. So I think that they'll get through this. I hope they get through this. And
They will.
I'm grateful.
Oh God.
Yeah. But God, He will pull them through. And that leads us to our last segment, gratitude. And I can say that I am grateful, for the people in my life. I feel like one of the things that I've always struggled too with is, my image and just how I present myself, and not always confronting issues, and just letting them bury inside and get the best and eat me up. So I'm grateful now to have like healthy relationships, healthy friendships, healthy yeah, even relationships with my family. Like we talk like never before, honest conversations. And I'm grateful for that. What about you? What are you grateful for?
Hmm. I could be grateful for that too. I'm I'm grateful that I have my relationship with God to help me to realize what I need to be grateful for. You
Mm.
know, with this COVID thing, it really did make me nervous. It made me very nervous. You know, you just never know. And when it's over there, you're nervous for them.
Yeah.
But now it was,
Like home. Yeah.
and I was really nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And I still, and I still, and I check in with him and my ex, and he's just like, I'm fine, everything's good, everything's good. But you just feel nervous. So I'm grateful for the relationship that he and I have, that we're able to still be, you know,
Yeah.
on good terms. I'm grateful, like you said, like for family. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I have a cousin and I, and we are just start pulling back our own masks in our family, showing
Okay.
the ugliness of things that have been going on, and how we're having these conversations now to say, you know what, we need to change this. We need to stop this cycle from going forward. So I'm grateful that, we're coming together to make some changes in our family, and the relationships and the way we do relationships. Like you said, spending more time with each other, not just
Yes.
being.
That is the word. That is what God has taught us, I believe, through this pandemic.
Yeah,
Spend time with your loved ones.
be present.
Yeah.
Be present. That's probably one of the biggest things for me. Like, when we were in Florida, I met up with a few of my friends and family and whatever, and I'm grateful to have that time to just
Yeah.
be one on one with them and hear and listen. Because when you're in a room with a lot of people, it's hard to really have those genuine moments.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in those moments where you really get to know someone. And I think we see that in the Harry and Meghan and their relationship. It's just been
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
you know, their bond is so much
Au-
different from it.
Authentic connections.
Yeah,
Yes.
authentic connections. Exactly. So yeah,
Well,
I'm grateful for that.
thank everyone for tuning in to episode 2 of
Mhm.
the But God podcast. We are excited about this journey. We're going to be pulling some people along for the ride in future episodes, but we wanted to just make you aware of who we are and some of our ideas and topics that God's laid on our hearts. So we hope you enjoyed. Until next week.
We'll see you soon.
Love you guys.
Ciao.